Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, a good Thursday morning to you, and welcome to the show. Senior producer Ryan Nicholson in charge of things this morning. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Ford. Find the best in presidential savings all month long. Visit thornhillford.net and on the road to total savings, US 119 in Chapmanville. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Phone calls to the show is service of Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor, Virginia Street, Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Coming up on the show a little bit later on, of course, the big news is the governor's State of the State address last night, and the legislature gavelled in yesterday. They kind of gavelled out, ceremonial kind of stuff, some meetings and whatever. Then they had the speech last night, and so we're going to get into that. They'll really get down to business at the Capitol today. We'll talk to Tom Susman, longtime Politico, about his take on the State of the State last night, plus some other things going on with the legislature. And speaking of the legislature, today begins day one of our live broadcast from the state capitol. TJ Meadows and Dave Wilson will be doing Talk Line live from the Capitol both today and tomorrow. We'll talk to them as we close out the show today. Also on the show, Jason Pizatella from the Contractors Association is here, and your calls and texts are welcome too. So here's the thing. If you want to go ahead and weigh in now on your take on the governor's State of the State last night, feel free to text me. I'll get to those texts a little bit later on. The text line, courtesy of Tony the Taylor's 304-935-5008. We'll get into that when we talk to Tom Susman a little bit later on. It was announced last week we have a new superintendent of schools here in Kanawha County. That announcement made last week by the BOE. Her name is Paula Potter, and she joins us now. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you for being here. So what's officially the timeline here? Because we know Superintendent Williams announced his retirement. A new superintendent was named. When do you actually take over the office?
Yes, I'll be named superintendent July 1 of this year. So I'll continue in my role as deputy superintendent from now until July 1. Okay, so officially that's when it all becomes official. Officially, that's when it becomes official. How's that sound? Give us a little background on you, because I know you're a longtime fixture in the education system here in Kanawha County Schools. Give us the background on Paula Potter. Okay, well, I started teaching many years ago here in Kanawha County School. In Kanawha County Schools, I taught at Hayes Middle School, at Nitro High School. I was an assistant principal at DuPont High School the last year it was opened, and then moved to Riverside High School. I was an assistant principal at South Charleston High School, and that's the high school I graduated from when I graduated from high school. And then I moved on to be principal at Hayes Middle School, at Riverside High School, Ben Franklin Career Center. I came to the board office to work as an assistant superintendent over middle schools and then over high schools, and now I'm working as a deputy superintendent.
So what is it about the education system that first interested you? Was this something that maybe when you were growing up that you thought, I want to get into the education system? Was it something you discovered late in life? What is it that made you want to do this as what's obviously been a career for you?
Well, I tell everyone I was a second grade student at Richmond Elementary in Kanawha County Schools, and my teacher was Mrs. Moore. She's a retired principal from Kanawha County Schools, and if we were good all week, she played her guitar on Fridays and sang to us. I felt she was a movie star at that time, and she was so caring, she and her co-teacher, Mrs. Niedermeyer, and I really can contribute my love for working with students as early as second grade because of the impact that those two folks had on me at that time. And then, of course, through the years, various educators that took interest in me personally and helped me advance my academic career and encouraged me to go on is what first started my love in education. I actually have a master's degree in sports management and worked in the athletic department at WVU. I felt that was going to be my career path, is to work in athletics. However, I moved back to the Charleston area when my grandparents became ill, and the job market at that time brought me back to teaching. And just the moment I started, even through today, just the connections that I make not only with students but with teachers and with parents is why I love to come to work every day.
Talking again with Paula Potter, who will be taking over the reins a little later on in the year as superintendent here in Kanawha County Schools. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Husson's Pizza. It is Heart-Shaped Pizza Month all month long. Get your 14-inch one-topping heart-shaped pizza anytime this month for $14. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Find your nearest Husson's at hussonspizza.com. All right, so have you started formulating the plan yet for how you're going to attack this job? Because, you know, being superintendent, as you well know, you've been around it for a while, it's in the largest county in the state of West Virginia. It's going to be a big undertaking. Have you got the plan in place yet?
Well, you know, every day is a continuation of different ideas that, you know, I'm thinking about. I've been very fortunate with Dr. Williams as the superintendent. He's allowed me to do a great deal of work on my own in the county. We do have a great deal of work to continue to do. Our goal always is to improve academics as well as build relationships with students and the community. We have had a changing landscape with public education. There's more choices now, and I'm excited about really showcasing why folks should choose public education. I'm a firm believer. We offer educational opportunities for every student. We don't select who we want to take or who we get to send out. So that's what I find so intriguing about public education. I think it really prepares students for the world that they'll enter when they go to work and or go to college. You have to deal with all walks of life, and I feel like we can provide that best opportunity for students. So, yes, I do feel that I'm up for the challenge. The great thing about Kanawha County Schools is we have a fantastic team of people that I will be able to work with. And we just try to do our best to collaborate and make the best improvements that we can each day.
Yeah, and you brought that up about the state of public schools in general in the year that is 2025, because it's, as you said, you've been in this business for a while. The landscape has certainly changed in schools, and there are so many different options out there now. And again, this is not exclusive to Kanawha County. We're seeing this across the country where parents are making other choices. But you're a firm believer, obviously, by the job that you do, that public schools are the best option.
I do believe that. I do believe that parents have to make the choice for their students, but I also believe that it's important that we as public educators demonstrate what we can offer all students from the top, so to speak, to those students that are maybe challenging towards the bottom, what we can do to help them improve. At times it almost feels like an attack on public education because we take things so personal. I don't really view it as that. I view it as we need to fully demonstrate what we have to offer students. Just this school year, we've had huge gains from our beginning of the year testing data to the middle of the year testing data. I do believe that we are a great choice for parents to think about and to really come and explore what we have to offer their son or daughter.
Before we let you go, talk about working alongside Dr. Tom Williams. He's been in the superintendent roles for a few years now, and you said you've been the deputy superintendent. You've got to watch the way he does things. Talk about that relationship with Dr. Williams.
Yeah, our professional relationship started many years ago. When I first started, one of my first teaching jobs was at Nitro High School. He was the assistant principal. That's been almost 28 years ago. And so, I've been fortunate to watch him as a leader and learn from him. And I'm going to continue to do that as, his tenure ends. He's given a great deal of service to Kanawha County schools. He's made great advances in many of our programs and in many of our schools. He's had to make some tough decisions, as we all will, moving forward in the future with consolidations. But, we all know that our population is decreasing in West Virginia. We hope to see that trend change. But, our funding is based on the students that, come through our doors. And so he's been very prudent with taxpayers' dollars to stay within budgets and to keep our budgets balanced. And I have learned that from him and from our previous superintendent, Dr. During, and I plan to do that same thing. It's not always a popular decision, but we want to be, good stewards of taxpayers' dollars, and we will always evaluate everything we're doing to keep everybody within a balanced budget. So, I've learned from his leadership. He is caring. He shows empathy towards students and parents, and so I hope that those are things that I can emulate when I take over.
Well, congratulations on getting the gig, and I'm sure that you'll do a great job as Dr. Williams did, and again, you'll take over officially in July. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here. Dr. Williams was a regular on the show, so go ahead and mark that down. You will also be a regular on the show, okay?
I'll be happy to.
All
Thanks.
Right. All right, thanks a lot. We'll talk soon. That is Paula Potter, again, who is the not yet the new superintendent of schools in Kanawha County. She'll take over later in the year following the retirement of Dr. Tom Williams. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. Their lead paint inspection and risk assessment services are designed to identify and to assess the presence of lead-based paint in buildings and other structures using a three-phase approach of inspection, sampling, and lab analysis, and an assessment report, too. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. And I got a couple of texts here coming up a little bit later on. Tom Susman here is here. He and I are going to break down the governor's state of the state last night. We'll also check in at the Capitol with Wilson and Meadows, who will be doing Talk Line Live from the Capitol. First show coming up today. We'll talk to them toward the end of the show. And Jason Pizatella from the Contractors Association of West Virginia is here as well. Text says, talking about Paula Potter, will she make better calls on closing schools in bad weather for the kids' safety versus trying to chase federal funds for feeding kids, as the president of the last ones have done? Says it's and I've said this all along. We had a very, very strange weather event here Tuesday. Here in the Kanawha Valley, and it was a lot worse in certain areas. Not in the Charleston area, it was basically nothing other wet rain, and obviously rain's wet, but wet roads, I should say. And it's not easy. It's not easy, to make that decision. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. Can be a whole lot of difference between what's going on in downtown Charleston and what's going on in Tornado, for example, in the counties that you may be listening to the show as well. So. All right. Text says, Dave, today was just another day, but then I heard Mike Stewart is leaving West Virginia office for a position in D.C. This is news from Jesus, but I can't say I'm surprised. However, I can say West Virginia will be better off without Mike Stewart. Mike Stewart's only use for West Virginia is as a pedestal to nestle himself up to Trump's bosom. I think it's the first time I've ever said bosom on the air. Here anyway. Stewart is typical career politician, jumping power chaser who falls upwards and lives on Uncle Sam's payroll. Adios, sayonara, and good riddance to Mike Stewart. Well, somebody not a Mike Stewart fan. Now, what this text is referring to, and I was going to get to that with Tom Susman a little bit later on the show, yesterday, State Senator Mike Stewart announcing he's not done any media that I know of, although I did talk to him via text this morning, that he is going to be taking a federal job. Don't know, though, if he's going to be, obviously at some point he'll be leaving West Virginia. And this all kind of depends on the RFK Jr., when he gets confirmation. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But, I'll tell you what, put that on hold, and we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. We'll take a break. Jason Pizatella from the Contractors Association coming up next. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Banking is not just about numbers. It's about people. Are you connected? Without a community bank, your financial journey might feel lonely. And who will you turn to when life gets complicated? From checking accounts to loans, Poca Valley Bank has you covered. We are here to support you with personalized service and genuine care across our 8 locations. Poca Valley Bank, your community bank where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com for more information. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
Your total automotive experience is waiting on the Thornhill Motor Mile.
Hey, it's Sydney and Nathan. At Thornhill, we're here to serve you, our family, friends, neighbors, and community. Together for over 25 years of service, we've helped keep the wheels rolling and look forward to serving you for your next automotive experience.
We are Thornhill Auto Group, with miles of cars from West Virginia to Kentucky.
Come visit us today on the Thornhill Motor Mile,
where your total automotive experience is waiting.
As retirement approaches, are you confident in your financial plan? At 4th Avenue Financial, they specialize in helping you to prepare for this important milestone. Whether you're concerned about income, investments, or leaving a legacy, John Burnett provides personalized strategies to ensure a secure and fulfilling retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Trust 4th Avenue Financial to help you retire right with confidence. Your financial goals, their expert guidance. Visit them today at 4thavenuefinancial.com.
Securities offered through Jenny B. Cole Financial Incorporated. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Jenny B. Cole Advisors Incorporated.
$923 Biggly Piggly Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony V. Taylor text 304-935-5008. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Snap Fitness. Snap has a wide selection of equipment, including free weights, cardio, machine weights, and more. 5 great locations: Charleston, Hurricane, Winfield, Barbersville, and Milton. Visit snapfitness.com for complete detail. Text says student enrollment is way down. Wonder if there will be any plans on cutting school personnel or consolidating schools. Well, we've seen enough of that in West Virginia. 100%. That's something we'll address with her. And again, Superintendent Potter, Superintendent-elect Potter, I guess, Superintendent-to-be Potter will not be superintendent until July. But I will have Tom Williams on the show a couple times between now and then. Texas Stewart would also have to go through Senate confirmation. His post said it will remain until he's confirmed. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I will get into that a little bit later on. Jason Pizatella is here. He is the head of the Contractors Association of West Virginia. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me on the program.
Thank you for being here. Tell us about the Contractors Association. What is it that you do?
We represent all facets of the construction industry in West Virginia. We have building, we have highway, we have road construction, we have utility construction, broadband, you name it, we represent it. And we have over 500 members across the state and those in surrounding states that do business in West Virginia. And we try to be the voice for the state's construction industry, the state legislature, and other places.
And speaking of the legislature, of course, last night the governor gave his state of the state, and we're going to break that down a little bit later on. And I know you guys are always around the Capitol, and you're always keeping an eye on things going on. Anything in particular that you're looking at as far as the legislature goes this year?
Yeah, we always try to advocate. You know, we've been very blessed to have, for the last 6 years, to have the Roads to Prosperity program that's invested billions of dollars in our state's road infrastructure, and we'd like to see some of that continue. There is always needs in West Virginia, whether it's for new schools, new airports, new water, wastewater, things that people rely on a day-to-day basis usually don't happen without funding from the legislature. So we try to advocate for those types of investments. And in particular, for the Contractors Association, we have a construction work zone safety legislation that we've talked about the last couple of years that's already been enacted in our surrounding states of Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Maryland. And the goal is to try to get drivers to slow down in construction work zones. And I know, Dave, you drive I-64 between Charleston and Huntington probably more than anybody, and you see all the traffic and all of the work zones there, especially there at Barbersville. Mm-hmm. And there have been several fatalities in West Virginia over the last couple of years. And so we have a piece of legislation that would allow law enforcement officers to use cameras to help as an additional deterrent to get people to slow down. And that's something that's not currently authorized by West Virginia law.
Okay, I want to break that down. Why is that not authorized already? I mean, is there a reason why?
Well, obviously, law enforcement officers can use radar and laser to sight speeders, but as far as cameras are concerned, that is where you get a picture of a vehicle and a radar will attract the speed, and tell the officer that allows them to pull them over. West Virginia law is very specific. We're a conservative state, and we have very specific laws that don't allow cameras for enforcement purposes.
Okay.
There are cameras everywhere.
Sure, yeah.
But you can't use them for enforcement. And that's one of the things that we were asking the legislature to do this year as a pilot that other states have done where they've had some really good success.
Talking again with Jason Pizatella from the Contractors Association of West Virginia. And yeah, as you mentioned, I do travel. Many of our listeners do as well. And many people in this building, I-64 on a daily basis. And, that whole project, the widening project, seemed like it took forever, but it actually finished a little bit ahead of schedule. Is that right?
It did.
Yeah.
Nitro St. Albans Bridge, huge for this region.
And but I know what you're talking about driving through there. And as you mentioned, going down, I spent a lot of time in the Huntington area, Barbersville, and places like that too. As you head down through there, I mean, it seems like that area has been under construction since 1921. There were Model Ts, I think, when they started working on that particular project. But people speeding through construction zones, man, it is a huge issue. And as you said, there have been fatalities not only from the drivers, but also from the workers.
Yeah. And, from our perspective, our goal is to protect the workers, but also the drivers as well. And, anything we can do to deter people from speeding in those work zones and getting to not just speeding, but also not be distracted.
Yeah. That's perhaps a bigger issue than the speeding. And, we passed the law, the hands-free law a long time ago. I don't know that people actually pay attention to it, to be honest with you, because all you have to do is if you pull up at a stop. I can't tell you the number of times on the interstate that I have been passed by someone, or, they'd be ahead of me and we'll see them start to swerve. Back in the day, you'd have said, okay, that person's drunk or that person's under the influence. Yeah, they're under the influence of Verizon or AT&T. That's what they're under the influence of now.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine, Dave, in your job or my job, if you were out, you're doing what we're doing right now, and somebody was driving by at 80 miles an hour or 90 miles an hour while you're trying to do your job. This is where these men and women work. And so the goal is to add another deterrent, another piece for law enforcement to deter people from driving too fast and getting into what could be a very catastrophic accident for them or the worker.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan. With more than $20 billion recovered, they believe that when you're injured, you deserve more. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I'll go back to the legislature for a moment. Republicans, and I know you're nonpartisan. I don't want to get into that, but there has been a marked change over the last 10 or more years with the makeup of the legislature and the Republicans being firmly in control. What is the overall mood coming out of the Capitol and of the legislature, in your opinion, towards the fields like you represent, like contractors and things of that nature?
This is my 16th session around the legislature, Dave, and every year on the first day, everybody remains optimistic for what's to come, no matter who's governor, no matter who's in charge of the legislature, no matter what the budget picture looks like. I think the mood is optimistic. I think after 8 years of the previous administration, sometimes, change is good. And some members of the legislature want a continuation of what we've had over the last 8 years. Remains to be seen how the legislature reacts to Governor Morrisey, who, again, is not a stranger. Having been Attorney General for the last 12 years, he's not a stranger to the Capitol, but he's a stranger to being chief executive. And he's only been there 30 days. And just like Donald Trump, every day over the last 30 days has been some type of action that has made the news cycle, to keep people's attention. And so I think the legislature is going to be extremely busy, as they typically are. And I think the mood here on day 2 is optimistic, but if you ask me on day 30, that might change.
All right. Let's talk about your event now. I'll have you on because you have a big event every March here in town, and we'll have you on as we lead up to it. But give us a little preview of what that event is.
Yeah, March 26th and 27th at the Charleston Civic Center Coliseum is the largest construction and design expo in the region. We do it annually every year. You're kind enough to have us on the show a couple days before every year, where we have over 500 exhibitors and over 3,500 attendees that come into the Civic Center over those 2 days to celebrate the construction industry, the design industry, engineering, architecture, all that's good about what's happening in West Virginia. And every year we have a keynote speech that draws 500, 600 people to the Civic Center on that first day. And this year, our keynote speaker is Emily Calandrelli, the space gal for some people that watch Netflix. The Charleston Gazette-Mail named her West Virginian of the Year.
Okay, yeah.
And she was in space last fall. And she has a very STEM science, engineering, and technology background. And so I think people are going to be really excited to hear Emily speak on the morning of the 26th. And we'll come back here in about a month and talk a little bit more about it and have Emily on the show.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, I think she would enjoy that.
Before we let you go, let's talk about West Virginia in general. You mentioned the Roads to Prosperity Act, which passed in 2017. Hard to believe it's been that long ago, 2017. We've seen a lot of road construction going on. Never enough for everybody because we don't like potholes and we don't like things of that nature. We like things, to be smooth, and they're not always. But since the Roads to Prosperity Act passed in 2017, what's your overall feel on it? I mean, there's been a lot of things going, but a lot of things still to do in West Virginia as it pertains to things like this, our roads and whatnot.
I think it's been somewhat transformational for our highway system. I can't imagine where we would be right now in 2025 had Roads to Prosperity program not passed in 2017, because we have a lot of needs in West Virginia, and we still have more needs to do. But let's also not forget that in addition to investing over $2 billion in the highway system, it also has put over 25,000 contractors to work, not to mention the DOH side of things that are working on the maintenance. So it really was a shot in the arm for our state's infrastructure in 2017. And you combine that with Congress's passage of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act in 2021, to add an extra $1 billion a year on top of that to West Virginia. It's certainly keeping contractors busy, Dave, and we're excited to deliver every project that the state and federal government asks us to build, because I think the voters and the drivers and the people that travel here for work and vacation, they expect us to have a quality highway system, and we want to make sure they do.
Give us some information about the Contractors Association. Where can people reach out to you? People want to get involved, they want to learn more, give us the contact.
CAWV.org and WVExpo.com for those of you that are interested in construction and design celebration at the end of March. We'd love to have anybody. It's free to attend. Go online, check it out, register starting next week, and hopefully we'll see a lot of new faces coming in into March.
All right, get with me because I want to definitely make sure that we have you, and as you called her, Space Gal, on the show a little bit as we get closer to the event. Jason Pizatella from the Contractors Association of West Virginia. Appreciate you being here. I'll see you around the Capitol, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave, for having me.
26 minutes it is now in front of the hour of 10 o'clock. West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. Take a few moments, be inspired, and join the collective effort of making a difference. Not just a story, it's a movement of hope, inclusivity, and triumph, reminding us all that every individual deserves a chance to shine in West Virginia and beyond. Huntington truly making a difference right here at home. Check out a video highlighting the Special Olympics, facebook.com/580WCHS. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony V. Taylor text 304-935-5008. Got a bunch of texts to get to, and we'll get to Tom Susman talking about the state of the state coming up next. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Jarrett Construction is celebrating its 25th year in business, proudly serving the West Virginia community. They extend heartfelt thanks to their clients for their trust and support over the years. From schools and hospitals to car dealerships and apartments, Jarrett Construction has been dedicated to building quality projects that make a difference. Their commitment to excellence in the community remains unwavering. For all your construction needs, choose Jarrett Construction, where your vision becomes their mission. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Thank you for making their 25 years successful and impactful.
No matter where you are never far from a Parmar store. From gas to groceries and everything else you need, your local Parmar store has it. Sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card and download the Parmar Stores app for even more savings. With well over 230 stores in 6 states, you are never far from Parmar. Visit parmarstores.com and follow them on your favorite social media app. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Download the free Metro News TV app to watch all your favorite Metro News shows, like Talkline with Dave and TJ, Sportsline with Tony Caridi, Free Guys Before the Game, along with great sporting events like weekly high school basketball and the upcoming state championship games, plus the exciting Tough Man events. Download the free app today. Metro News Television is powered by Dan Cabot GMC Buick, Gomart, Blue Wendell Marine, and Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Three minutes away from 10. Bigley, Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show and 580 Live is presented in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Great season of Dirty Birds baseball coming up. Couldn't get here soon enough for me at Go-Mart Ballpark. Tuesdays are $2 Tuesdays with $2 tickets, popcorn, hot dogs, sodas, and more. Wednesdays, bring your dogs to the park for Woof Wednesday. Thursdays are Thirsty Thursdays, $1 beers and waters. Fridays are Freebie Fridays with free giveaways. Fireworks after the games on Saturdays, and Sundays family fun days. Kids 12 and under get in for free. For more, visit DirtyBirdsBaseball.com. Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We had a text here, and I am working feverishly to try to get this answered here for Mr. Pizatella. He is not with us right now. He had to leave, but we had a text that said, how many of those contractors are local, and is there a law requiring contractors to have a certain percentage of employees to be from West Virginia? I just sent that text to Mr. Pizatella, and if he gets back to me, because he's already gone, Elvis has left the building, he's exited, and I will try to get that question answered for you. Text says, Dave, the Contractors Association should be interested in painting bridges. We have no bridge maintenance program, says a texter. Dave says, the president, that fella was talking about traffic cameras where a machine takes a photo or radar, then they mail you a speeding ticket. I'm against it, says a texter. Yeah, that's happened to somebody. I'm not going to mention any names, but something I happen to be married to in another state. Welcome home, Pat White, says a texter. Indeed. Pat White named as an assistant to Coach Rich Rodriguez. That announcement coming down yesterday. Dave, congratulations to Mike Stewart for accepting an important role in D.C. He's a man of integrity and common sense. Thank you, says a texter. Let me check this out. Hang in with me, Susman. I haven't forgot about you, all right? All right, Mr. Pizatella just sent me a text. It says there is not a law requiring employees to be from West Virginia, but all of our member companies are domiciled in West Virginia. I would say over 90% of our employees are West Virginia residents. That's X, texter X, and ye shall receive. Tom Susman is here. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Well, you don't get abused like on Steam Release. I must say that says a lot to you.
I do.
Doing well this morning.
All right. So let me mention this. Coming up on tomorrow's show, it's Friday, which means Hannah Gardner from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association will be here with this week's Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. Plus tomorrow's Valentine's Day. You taking care of that already, Tom?
Yeah, I fell into this trap where I was told don't get anything. That is the worst.
Well, yeah, okay.
Don't get flowers. Don't get chocolate. And you know what that means.
Yeah, you better get it. You better get it. You better. Well, Mary Claire Akers is going to be marrying a lot of people up tomorrow. We had her on the show earlier this week. She's doing that King of Hearts thing, and we'll check in with her live from the courthouse tomorrow to see how many people are going to get signed. And they do. We learned this. They do. If you want to have. The word escapes me. What is it when you re-up your marriage?
Right.
What? I can't think of the word.
That really says something bad about you and I. I'm telling you.
Like the recommittal.
Recommittal.
Yeah. They're doing that. Renewing of the vows. That's what it is. Okay. They're renewing the vows if you want to do that as well. This guy is political columnist, radio guy, one-time legislator, lobbyist, captain of ships, Grammy Award winner. Is that too much, Tom Susman?
Definitely not Grammy Award winner. I was the only guy ever kicked out of the Beckley Junior High Choir because I couldn't sing. So I've carried that shame my whole life.
So where are you? Are you completely out of the game now? I mean, you had your consulting around.
I do some public affairs work and do some public relations, but no, I don't lobby. I mean, this was like the greatest session ever. For the first day, I went up there, got a couple interviews for the radio stations, and like no pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool to just sit back and watch. Like John Lennon said, man, watching the wheels. Just sit back. And you are a radio guy. You got some radio stations, including WMOV in Ravenswood and some others out there. So
so it's I'm enjoying life.
All right, well, that's good. All right, so State of the State. We'll get into some specifics later, but overall, give me your view on the State of the State last night.
It's markedly different how every governor's delivery is different. I would suggest to you that Governor Morrissey's was more of a traditional delivery than, say, a Justice. We didn't have any pets or whiteboards or props. I think compared to Joe Manchin, Joe was a little more charismatic in the way he did things. I think Morrissey and Bob Wise, their delivery are pretty similar. They're both policy wonks. And not to be offensive, but I think they understand the policies that they're bringing forward, where sometimes I'm not sure governors really understand the minute details, but the bigger picture. So it's kind of fun to watch the different folks. I do have one bone to pick. I really wish they could get the audio worked out on the stream. I mean, but aside from that, it was really good. And I think he delivered a solid State of the State speech.
Yeah, I thought it was a good speech, and I'm not talking about necessarily content. I'm talking about just as somebody who looks at how did he do from an oratory standpoint. I thought he did a good job, as you said. Not a whole lot of, it was a traditional speech that you would give that you see governors across America giving. It wasn't that different. He referred to a Mountain State comeback, and one thing that I thought was interesting is that he said something to the effect of, we inherited a mess here, and we're going to get the Mountain State comeback. Okay, that kind of put up a flag to me, to say, okay, well, and he kind of explained what he did. There's a question about the budget and so on and so forth, but I wonder how, Senator Justice thought about that, or maybe, when he heard we inherited a mess here.
Yeah, I think there's probably some ruffled feathers, either in Greenbrier County or D.C. this morning. But to move change, you have to define the problem that you have. And this is the one time a governor gets to speak to the whole state. And so he has to lay out and explain why he's doing what he's doing. There's going to be a 2% budget reduction across all budgets. He talks about that there's going to be a future kind of Doge activity in the state. So you really can't do that if you're saying everything's rosy and things are great. So he had to define the problem. And I think he's done that. The problem I'm hearing from the legislators, and not last night, but I'm hearing from legislators, is they don't believe there's the problem as defined. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have to convince the legislature that, in fact, there is a problem. And these are the steps we're taking to do that.
And look, it's straight out of what you're saying is, and I'm not disagreeing or agreeing, but it's straight out of the Trump playbook, which is, I am your savior, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to fight for you, and I'm going to clean up all these things. And again, a lot of the people, 99.9% of them, which are Republicans that are around him, and the former governor's going, what the hell, man?
And I think it's an issue. But, Gaston Caperton did the same thing to Arch Moore. I'm going to show my age. He came in and talked about how bad the budget deficit is. And then that set the ground for a $400 million tax increase. So you have to define the situation in order to make change. I don't fault him for it. I think if I were Larry Pack, Brian Abraham, I'd feel a little blistered this morning.
I don't think Larry Pack would get blistered about anything, to be honest with you. Abraham maybe. I don't know about Larry Pack. He's the most easygoing guy in the world, but I agree with that. Text says, is it our rocket ship ride in reverse? So it's a texter.
Look,
good way to put it.
Guys, I've been in office for 30 days. Let's at least let him get the train out of the station first before we start talking about that. But there are a number of people who, during the Justice administration, were concerned about the finances because you didn't have the long-term budget forecast. There were issues that you couldn't see forward. But then I talked to people in the budget, in the Justice administration. They said the problem is the people who were putting those budget forecasts together were so pessimistic that they were making decisions that actually hurt the outcome of the state because they were afraid to spend dollars that needed to be spent. So the legislature is going to have to figure that one out.
Talking to Tom Susman, political what title did I give you now? Just Tom Susman. How's that?
Old man, cheap bottle wash,
whatever.
Just whatever you want to call me.
Whatever. Let me get this in here. Vaccines are your best protection against severe disease from flu and COVID-19. If you're 65 or older, risk less, do more with this season's vaccines. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Text says his speech wasn't specific enough. Is he going to follow Trump's cut 20% state jobs or offer any buyouts? He did say And I heard a quote. Our news team caught up with Delegate Kaylee Young afterwards, and she took a little bit of, and I'm not trying to put words into Kaylee Young's mouth, but she kind of took offense that it was almost like he was taking a shot in her view on state workers by saying that we're going to find all this money, like they're harboring money or something in these programs. And I'm not saying they are or aren't, but I could see where that might rub some people the wrong way.
Yeah, and in the defense, and here's where it's going to come: is what is the definition of waste? For a lot of people, a state park is a waste of money. They think if it's something people want to have, they ought to just write a check and pay for an entrance fee. Well, and I'm not saying that Morrissey's going to do that. Mm-hmm. Other people think state parks are crucial governmental service. So it's going to depend on exactly where he goes with it. I think we need to look and see what happens with PEIA. I think you need to know what happens in terms of these different departments. And the reality is any organization can stand to cut 2%, 3%, 4%. Mm-hmm. I don't care what organization it is, but the question is then when do you get down to crucial governmental services?
Right. And when does it start, as you said, affecting services? So it's one thing, if you're going to cut back on the number of people, but in the end, if the public gets screwed, then you really haven't accomplished a whole lot.
So the contradiction in terms last night, West Virginia is the 50th state on public health. Today at 1:30 or 1 o'clock in Senate Health, it's the vaccine rollback bill for school-age vaccines. Clearly the only thing we do correct in terms of public health. That's going to pass. Then maybe that puts us back behind Puerto Rico when you start bringing the territories in. Again, not here to debate whether we should be doing vaccines or not, but if you want to talk about public health, then there is a wide variety of what is public health. Are we going to work on doing restaurants and making sure the food's safe? But at the same time, we're talking about, on the national level, doing away with the CDC or CDC services. So I think they're going to have to determine exactly what it is they want to do because there are some contradictory messages there.
Text says Governor Morrissey's address was non-inspirational and his demeanor is not one to make one want to follow him. Text says if there is such a giant physical mess, why isn't some of this being thrown at Eric Tarr, chairman of the Finance Committee, and not just Jim? Says a texter. Texter says your guest is spot on. I didn't know that I didn't know that you could text from the other side of the table there.
I didn't. That's not mine.
It's pretty good.
I need your address so I can send you your $5, please.
I mentioned though this, and we'll do this, and we'll go to break, and we'll come back. I mentioned this on the show yesterday. On Tuesday, I was at the Capitol and helping because we started our live broadcasting with Talkline over there, and I was over there doing some stuff with TJ and some other folks, and. You get a chance to just go talk to people and kind of off the record. And where I'm not a journalist, I can, sometimes get stuck because I'm not going to go back and write anything. I'm just going to say, well, tell me what you think about it. And talking to a few, and these are Republicans. These were all Republicans I talked to off the record, which is kind of on the record, but I'm not going to mention their names. They seem to think it's going to be a rocky session. I had one prominent Republican who said it's going to be, and I'll clean it up, it's going to be an S show.
Right.
Is it going to be that bad, Tom? You've been around a while.
Well, there's always this so you have the legislature who believes they're in charge. You have the governor's office who believes they're in charge. We have a strong budget powers to the governor in West Virginia, but we have a low bar for vetoes on other legislation. So they're going to have to work together. I understand that the governor's new legislative liaison, who's not from West Virginia, basically told everybody that if they wanted to talk to department heads, they have to go through the governor's office. And I think some members went really took offense to that. But then again, that's just learning stuff. Mm-hmm. They'll learn it. When I was in the Wise administration, we had a couple things that came out of the chief of staff's office at the time that made no sense. And very quickly, those get cleaned up. So if there is some acrimony between the legislature and the House and Senate on communication, that'll get cleaned up. There's growing pains. I mean, you've got a brand new administration. You got 20 new delegates. I don't know, 10, 15 new senators.
All of the Board of Public Works except for the Ag Commissioner.
It's growing pains. You got a new Senate president, new rules in the House. Mm-hmm. So give the governor a couple weeks, give the legislature a couple weeks, then let's make that assessment of whether it's a blank show or not.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and RSV. It's a great podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles. Great resource. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetronews.com, into the podcast menu, and start your journey towards better health today. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
I'm John Carruthers, the owner of Best Virginia Heating and Cooling. I'm born and raised right here in West Virginia. I've got 3 daughters, so I absolutely care who comes into my home. Every technician we send to your home has been drug tested and background checked. I guarantee the best client experience or your money back. We have the best team and the best processes built around a 5-star experience. Call Best Virginia today at 681-655-1214.
The new year is here, and it's time for a new beginning in a new ride. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Hurricane is standing by to help you start the new year right with a new 4-wheel drive just in time for the winter weather. Gene and Ryan have marked down their new inventory, and you've got to take advantage of these great deals. Check this out. New Ram 2500 Heavy Duty with up to $12,000 off MSRP while supplies last. If you don't want to get stuck in the snow this winter, you need to check out a new Jeep Wrangler and save up to $8,000 off MSRP. And if you're looking for a bargain, you've got to check out the new Jeep Compass with prices starting at under $30,000. Now, if you can't find the 4x4 that you're looking for on the new lot, then it's probably over on the pre-owned lot, and all of that inventory is marked down too. Walker's got something for everyone this winter, so don't wait. Take that short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
6 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Bridge Valley. Their WIN Academy can provide free college credit in nursing and advanced manufacturing to students while they're still in high school. Visit bridgevalley.edu/WIN Academy for more information. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Tom Susman is here. One of the things the governor brought up last night was certificate of need. And I know the folks with Americans for Prosperity and other groups have been really, trying to get rid of CON. You've been somebody that's been around the healthcare community. The governor wants rid of it. Explain to folks in a brief little capsule what exactly certificate of need is and why do so many people want to get rid of it.
Okay, certificate of need basically helps allocate healthcare services in the state. And the reason that it's there is because the bulk of the payment for healthcare services in West Virginia is through governmental payers, either Medicare, PEIA, Medicaid. When I was lobbying and back coming out of the legislature, there were folks that were there that when they were looking to build MRIs. And the reality was, the thought was, if you build one, they'll come. In other words, if I go spend $1 million on an MRI, I'm going to fill the thing up with patients. And that was the fear. Then the other fear is, because we have so much Medicaid, that if the emergency rooms and whatnot don't have that flow of patients into the hospitals, then they're not going to be able to support the emergency room and the indigent care and the Medicaid care, which is in our cost. The flip is, though, the businesses are saying, hey, look, we want to negotiate for prices and contracts. And because there's not enough competition in the marketplace, we can't negotiate. Well, the reality is they're not going to be able to negotiate because every provider only works for 1 or 2 systems, and nobody has a system that's statewide. In other states where there's more private pay. But then there are some services that arguably you could say, look, these are more restraint of trade and really don't get into the basic provision of care, so that in a minute and a half I've probably confused everybody from Polka to Bancroft and back again. But there's truth somewhere in the middle with that one. And it's going to take a while to work through that. It sounds simple. It's not simple on either side, and each side would like you to think it's a simple yes or no.
All right. Yeah, that's confusing, Tom.
Yes, I can.
The Dave Allen Show at 580 Live brought to you by Meeks Realty Group. You can unlock your dream property. Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality, residential or commercial. Charleston to Huntington, they got you covered. Meeks Realty Group, your journey home begins with them. Rich the Realtor's the guy, 304-932-7488, or email rklein, Klein with a K, at meeksrealtygroup.com. We begin our live coverage from the Capitol with Talkline with Meadows and Wilson. Let's go now to the state Capitol, and I understand that Northern Dave Wilson is there. Good morning, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. I've made my way south today, Dave.
All right, you're down in my territory now. I got from like Ripley down, you got Ripley up. That's the Dave line, right?
You know what? I think that's fair. I think that is a fair distinction in the great state, sure.
All right, I got Tom Susman here with me as well. What's coming up on the big show, the first one from the Capitol for you guys today, Wilson?
Well, I'm scheduled to have Governor Morrisey on with us right off the top, talk about his State of the State address last night. We're obviously going to bring up the budget, but a couple of other things that came up that caught our attention. One, the expansion of VOTEC programs. What's this Power Tech idea he's talking about? Also, want to talk a little bit about education because he identified priorities such as teacher salaries, PEIA, alternative schools, classroom discipline. All that comes with the price tag, so how do you prioritize those? We'll get into that with him. Senate President Randy Smith will drop by. Hoppy's going to join us, get his thoughts as well today, guys, so full show.
All right, Hoppy, yeah, it is Hoppy Thursday, is it not?
Even from the Capitol, it is Hoppy Thursday. Nobody is bigger than Hoppy Thursday.
All right. We'll be listening. What's the mood like there right now, Wilson, as things are starting to get underway? I know it got underway yesterday, but today's the first real day. So what's the mood like? What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Well, everybody's in a good mood because it is, it's the second day and you're starting to ramp up. But already there is some consternation, if you will, I think, about the budget. I think some of the lawmakers who have shepherded the budget the last few years are not particularly pleased with the characterization that there have been structural deficiencies over the last several years that have led to this budget hole. So that is a topic that is being talked about. But it is day two, so people are optimistic. It's kind of lighthearted. It's Fairmont State Day, by the way, here at the Capitol. So a lot of maroon and gold here in the building.
Well, let me know when the food is served, because I know in my time in state government, there is always food somewhere. So when somebody has a banquet or something, you guys are on the air, you call me, you tag me and Ryan in, and we're there, okay?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the buckwheat cakes. That's the only reason I took
you want to
this
say
job.
something? All right, Sussman, you want to say?
That's the nice thing about the Capitol is every day a different group comes up, and you get really good exposure in the state.
All right. Wilson, we'll talk to you guys at 10:06. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, guys. Talk to you in a minute.
All right. Dave Wilson, Northern Dave, and Tom Susman is here with us. Tom, I appreciate it, man.
Well, thank you, sir.
Just
I enjoyed it.
Sit back as I reference John Lennon. Watch the wheels, man.
There you go.
I'll have you on the show anytime you want to talk about it. It's good stuff, man.
Anytime you want.
Coming up on tomorrow's show again, we'll talk a little pet action with Hannah Gardner from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association with this week's Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. Also, we'll go live to the Kanawha County Courthouse tomorrow for the King of Hearts. It's Valentine's Day, and Judge Mary Claire Akers marrying up some folks. We'll talk to her and kind of get a handle on what's going on there. My producer was Ryan Nicholson. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun. I love somebody.
WCHS 86.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.